there has been a lot more falsehoods out there about what's going on than truths.
But, well, but you know what's interesting about NBC, and I worked there once, and I actually have the dubious distinction of having worked for all of them. But when I walked into NBC, largely thanks to Susan LaSala, who's here with us today, I came from CBS, which was like being in the Marines, and NBC was the nicest place.
Still is, and
everybody loves each other.
Former ABCers, there's this like club of former ABCers. I'm not trying, but everybody comments on that. I've heard this from others when I went there, where it's just a different. This is not to disparage ABC. ABC has a certain level of intensity, but they come over here and they're like, oh. Everybody is so nice. There isn't
God, they bring birthday cakes to the desk. They remember
not an NBC 2.0. When was the last time we had a birthday cake, Susan, right? Sometimes we get the cupcakes, though. She's a big Georgetown cupcake fan.
This made me wonder if, especially what happened after the conventions with Keith Olbermann and Chris Matthews, and this very public kind of marital meltdown that was happening with MSNBC. If it wasn't, and this happens in families who lose a patriarch, they can disassemble a little bit. If the loss of Tim Russert was having this reverberating effect on the whole family.
I really don't want to put ourselves on the couch on this, and I'm
put it on a bar stool. It's so much easier.
Yeah. Sometimes a bar might be the better place.
But you know, I'm not trying to make it heavy, Chuck. But he did kind of keep you all in order.
It was certainly a ballast, but it wasn't just a ballast for NBC. I think it was a ballast for Washington. I think it was a ballast for network news. I mean, look, you watch the other Sunday shows. They do everything they can still to emulate the Meet the Press format and the even now it's always amazing guest pairings that show up on Meet the Press 2 weeks later show up on other Sunday shows. I mean, it's like the formula. It's
almost a little too formulaic, don't you think?
It's everybody should develop their own personality on those things. But so I think he was a ballast for a lot of folks, not just us at NBC, but journalism wide. Look, to me, it's an excuse. I don't want to excuse any issues that are going on, and someone say, "Well, geez, if Tim was here, there wouldn't be any problems."
Right.
You can't keep doing that. It's like when you lose, like I said, when you lose a loved one, there's only so often you can use that as an excuse. Come home late at night and say, "Yeah, I blew through my curfew, Mom, because you know what? I was getting drunk and I didn't care," or something like that. You gotta move on and take responsibility for yourself.
Up.
So,
did he have too much power? Did NBC give him too much power?
I don't think so. But I don't. Everybody. There's a myth. When somebody passes on, there becomes a mythology about how much power somebody had. Power. Who knows what he had from it? He had influence.
Well, he handled it well. It was easy to ladle it onto him, wasn't it?
I think what made Tim so beloved inside the network is that maybe he had a lot more power than he ever chose to use.
Because I think they just kept giving it.
Well,
Very protective
right.
of his own.
It was protective of his flock.
Very much so.
Yeah, and
Susan throwing me off my
because she well, let's go back to something else you said. You were talking about these Sunday shows, and you talk about each having its own personality, or it should have its own personality. Hypothetically, given that Meet the Press is going to need to redefine itself after the election, how would you think Meet the Press would benefit from a redefinition? What would be its best new personality?
It's not. The beauty of Meet the Press is it's the gold standard. And so the
but
star
it shape shifts for the person sitting there.
It can shape shift a little bit, but the star of Meet the Press has always been the guest, the format, and the show. And I'm not saying that to duck anything or whatever. I'm just saying that is
wasn't throwing anything.
That is that it's sort of the institutional. It's an institution, and so the thing that you got to get away from is that you don't want one person to be a star. The show star has always been the guest.
Well, but we both know Tim did become quite a star.
Of course he
did.
And
a lot of people too. You'll still hear today people saying, "I sure wish I could hear Tim Russert interview Sarah Palin."
I tell you, I hear that 3 times a day right now. My great fear is would she have come on?
Yeah,
we
haven't heard Sarah Palin say it yet.
Here's a great fact. Betsy Fisher at the Meet the Press, she got this factoid. Every single Republican nominee for vice president since the show started
Yeah.
Since the show started when I was on radio, every single Republican nominee for vice president appeared on Meet the Press before the election except one. Who wants to guess who? There you go.
Yeah. Well.
So there's a stat that I think
there's reasons
the
for these
McCain
things.
campaign is now well aware of.
Do you want the Meet the Press job?
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with ambition.
There's no right answer to that question.
Well, yes, could be.
Look,
I'd like to win the lottery.
I, from afar, looked up to Tim,
Mm-hmm.
and from close in, looked up to Tim.
And never thought this day would come.
That's probably there. You go. I don't know. I don't know if I want the. I'll be honest. I don't know if I want the job.
But
On
they
one
talked
hand,
to you about it.
No, nobody's talking to me about it.
Really? Maybe that means something too.
That's exactly
Maybe
right.
they've
So I looked up to Tim. It is the preeminent show. But you got to be a great interrogator. You got to be a great,
Yeah. Do you talk to Maureen?
Who wants to be the idiot that follows in Tim's shoes? Oh, and by the way, not only that, now you got to follow in Tim's shoes and Tom's shoes. It's insanity.
That's why I talked about redefining, but you've been
No, that's a really tough thing. So I don't know.
I will change the subject.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to go there a little bit.
Hopefully Patrick Gavin's computer doesn't work right now.
We unplugged it. No, he's wireless. I can only imagine how much information comes to you on a daily basis. You just must be. How do you manage it? Do you have a staff? How big is your staff?
Not big enough. What are we, about 10 people now?
Who report just to you?
Basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No,
And
we have
they
a
are
political unit of researchers and edit folks, tape archivists who just worry about the video that's coming in.
Who's your polling company?
We use a partnership. We use two. One for nationals, a partnership of Garen Hart-Yang on the Hart Research on the Democratic side,
Right.
Public Opinion.
Do they report to you?
Report's not the right word. I mean,
Well,
obviously, we partner with Wall Street Journal, so it's a.
Can you commission a poll all on your own, or do you have to get?
Yeah, no. But we want. Yes, but we got to get hopefully the Wall Street
I
Journal.
mean, is that
split
map
the
laid
cost.
out? Do you know what days
Yes,
polls
I
are
know-
going to happen
yes,
on? They're
yes,
not
I know.
generated by events.
Correct. No. I know how many polls we're going to do between now
And
the
how many are you
election.
going to do between
4
now?
national polls, and probably approximately 25 different state polls.
Do you ever get Dick Morris-like and then just privately ask for one little poll that
Never.
answers a question you want to know?
Never. I mean, we're ordering a poll from a news organization, so every question we put on there we make public. I wish there's a couple of questions that I want to ask regarding Hillary Clinton, but the question is.
Oh, we'll get there.
The question is, no, and I mean this
Yeah.
as far as but you have to decide sometimes when you include on a poll. This is something that's been scary about the NBC experience, is how easily you can create news. And you have to be careful, I think, particularly in a poll, particularly if you ask a question about Hillary Clinton, about the presidential race, and you enter in a whole topic, and you create news, and you create
Right.
an event that all of a sudden affects the presidential campaign. Yeah, so you have to think about those things and poll numbers. Look at the conventional wisdom that ABC and the Washington Post created about white women about a week ago when it came to Sarah Palin. And they had this drastic flip of 20 points, white women flipping 20 points. And then their poll changed all of 2 points, which doesn't make statistical sense. But it didn't matter. They emphasized that one subgroup, 20 points, and it became the talking point of all of Washington. Oh boy, white women flipped 20 points by Sarah Palin. And it became, so they created a news nugget. So you have to just be careful. So on the polling stuff, there's a ton of information I want. So
do you have to
I have
wrestle
polling
with others
friends.
to narrow down
No,
what the
I'll have
questions
polling
will be?
friends, and I'll get them to put it on their poll and then share it with
There
me.
you go. Are the polls like banging into each other out there?
I think so right
Yeah.
now. I mean, look, the good news is all of the political industry, when I say political industry, I mean even pollsters at other networks, and the NBC Wall Street Journal poll is considered the gold standard of the national polling because it's done by two people who get paid by campaigns on
Right.
each side to get it right, not to just create a poll. So they just have a more sophisticated way, I think, of framing a questionnaire. And so the NBC Wall Street Journal poll is usually seen as sort of the, we're the ballast of national polling.
Well, I would hope you'd say that, but who else do you look at right after that?
ABC and the Washington Post. I think that's a good poll. I think that, and I'll leave it there.